Well, g'day everybody and welcome back to the Hardball Gets AFL show. This podcast is brought to you by the Mazda BT50. You do ute. Today on the show, it's the 6 points leading into the final round of the season. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do that. Leave us a rating, leave a review. And if you've got a local sports highlight, make sure you enter it in the BHP Streamer Screamer competition where you can win $5,000 for you and $1,000 for your club. Go to streamer.com.au/screamer to enter. All right. Get stuck in. This is a Hardball Gets AFL show. My name's Nick Rinn, joined by Chris Robertson and Jake Colvin. What's going on,
guys?
How are we doing?
It's great to be back. I love being called upon maybe once every 6 weeks, and I'm happy to fill a role, as always, Nick.
You're just the world's biggest Port Adelaide fan. You've just waited until they've steadied the ship a little bit before returning. That's been noted.
Well, you've got to bide your time. It did get a little bit shaky there. And we have... I reckon I come past your desk every single morning, whether it be for Gridley, Footy Grid, or just to chat about.
Listen, you're about 3 minutes away from putting those flights on like Facebook Marketplace or something, right?
Your grand final flights, which you have booked.
I have. Yes. Well, I booked 7 weeks, 8 weeks ago, maybe now. But
at the height of the streak,
it was a very instant booking straight after they beat Geelong. We know this, but look, my thoughts of Port Adelaide went down a little bit in that 4-loss streak, but. It's been renewed after a couple of good weeks. I was at the game on Sunday, the Freo game. It was good to be amongst the crowd again.
Who'd you go to that game with?
I went with my mate Patrick.
Oh, you actually found someone in the
I found someone.
Yeah.
So he came with me because he felt sorry for me.
I was trying to set you up, because you were going to just go by yourself for a while, weren't you?
I did get abused by a Freo supporter for clapping the Butters goal. So I'll make sure I don't support goals and good moments anymore. I learnt my lesson.
It was a pretty handy Butters goal, to be fair.
It was not bad
just
at
a
all.
blind snap over the shoulder in traffic.
It was a polite clap and a come on from me, and wasn't.
No, that's outrageous.
Taken,
outrageous supportive
really
behaviour from you.
Yep.
It's not West Coast of Freo at Optus.
Tell your story walking.
Very disappointing.
All right, well, we might as well just crack straight in this week on the 6 points. Robbo, why don't you kick us off? You got something timely?
Well, I do. Well, just because of Alistair Clarkson's comments that have just lobbed now, he's kind of done his press conference and dropped a bit of a bomb on a few different topics. He surprisingly doesn't want a draft lottery to come in.
Yeah, he is.
I can't for the life of me figure out why he wouldn't want one this year. But he's also sort of gone bang on the assistance for the Gold Coast Suns. It's just accepted, I'm quoting here, it's just accepted that Gold Coast have got 3 picks in the top 10 this year, and it's like, oh, well, that's okay.
Yeah, I think there's someone messaged us about this on the Hardball Gets Insta. There's some kind of rule about not having a certain number of academy picks or NGAs or anything in the top.
Right up the top.
In the first round. But I think, from memory, that doesn't apply to the Northern academies. And it's kind of just, it's just a rule for some.
A rule for some academies. Just in case we needed to make the draft and bidding in academy set up any more confusing, there's different rules for different academies. I think he's gone really hard on the aggressive here just to ward people off the possibility of North having picks 1, 2 and 3.
Clarko's back, apparently.
He's back.
He's just launched in the last round of the season. Where you been, mate?
But, I mean, Clarko aside, can anyone make the case for me why a draft lottery is not a better thing to do? And even just as well as making it all sorts of fair, even just from an AFL point of view where they love the amount of
the
content and drama and TV opportunities. The lead into the draft gives you a whole week of content. The draft itself is a must-watch spectacle. And then there's talkback radio for weeks afterwards. Oh, it was rigged. Can't believe Hawthorn got the top pick. It should have been North Rower. I just can't understand why we wouldn't get it. And that's obviously in the interest of fairness is point number one. Colv, can you make a case?
Well, would the play-in come in conjunction with this to go full Americanised
the play-in tournament?
Would that be in the same time?
No, please no.
Well,
I don't understand the why Americanised. It's just content. But
it is Americanised. Like the only reason they want to do this draft lottery is because of just the way it's done in the NBA.
No, but it just needs a system where it's not as automatic as if you lose this game, you are getting this pick.
Oh, I get that.
And that's the scenario that North Melbourne is facing this weekend. If you lose this game, you get pick 1.
Yeah.
There's no uncertainty whatsoever.
Where'd the pick 3 thing come from?
What's
1, 2.
that?
They get 1 and then a Ben McKay.
1 for Ben McKay and then 1 on the whoever's bidding on
Jed Walter.
Jed
isn't it?
Walter. Yeah.
Hang on.
Sorry, they're not getting it. I'm talking about the second. I'm talking about West Coast pick getting pushed back to pick 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Well, in a nutshell, if you had to pick who's the worst team, North Melbourne or West Coast, who's more deserving of the first pick, who are you choosing?
Deserving.
Who's
You
more?
know,
Well,
like,
who's worse?
West Coast are worse.
Which is funny to say, which kind of goes to the point that it does need to come in, doesn't it?
But I also agree that it's different to, let's say in the NBA you get pick 1 and it's Victor Wembanyama. Like, it changes things a little bit. He changes things a lot, actually. Sorry, not a little bit. So he's
Massively.
one player can have a massive effect on the team. In footy, it's not the case.
It's not quite as
so
bad, yeah.
Sometimes it's pick. Well, I would argue it's you get some more consistency out of number 1 picks, but there's a pick like 6 or something where you'd actually get more superstars.
Yeah, totally.
Over the history of the game and the history of the draft. So it actually doesn't. Like, as much as it's trying to avoid people get the number 1 pick, it also doesn't hurt them that much because the number 3 pick, who's to say the number 3 pick isn't better?
Well, over the last sort of decade, the pick ones haven't been necessarily game changers. I mean, there's been usually key forwards like Tom Boyd, pick 1, didn't work out. Paddy McCartan, pick 1,
John Patton
didn't work out.
pick
John
1, didn't
Patton.
pick.
So,
The thing is, there's a pattern here. Don't pick a key forward at pick
pun
1.
intended as well.
A pattern, general pattern.
That's very good. That's very good.
Well, speaking of drafts, why don't we, Colvin, what do you got for us?
Well, I think looking at this year, I think going back to the 2018 draft, just because, I am a Zach Butters fan, I did look at that draft the other day and I was talking to my friend Fraser McInnes just about how stacked and
name
loaded that draft is.
Name drop on the podcast.
Yeah, he's a huge name. He's a
He's
a huge name.
The
He's the
workhorse, Fraser
workhorse.
McInnes.
But
How
I
many
think,
games did Fraser get in the end?
20-something?
no, I think it was around about 10-ish.
Was that all?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You keep talking, I'll
Great
find
comment.
out.
But you find out. Just going back, just more so because how many players from that draft are actually having really good career years. And I've got up the top 12, and because there's 3 of us, so we can have 4 picks each, trying to redraft that 2018 draft there. So I'll read you out the way it was selected originally.
Only 14 games. There you go.
Walsh, Lukosius, Rankin, Max King, Connor Rosie, Ben King, Bailey Smith, Taron Thomas, Chase Jones, Nick Blakey, Jai Caldwell, and Zach Butters were the top 12. And for notable names outside of that top 12, just for your reference, Isaac Quainer, 13, Dersma, 18, Bobby Hill was 24, Roy Bottoms had a pretty solid career at Sydney at 25, McInerney was in the 40s, Shooter Schultz, one of your favourites, Nick, 57, and then, West Coast have got a infatuation with Bailey Williams now. He was in the 30s. Even Kieran Briggs, the best, one of the best ruckmen in the AFL.
So how are we going to do this? So who gets to pick 1?
So I'll leave it with you.
We should have a lottery to determine who
We
picks
should
one.
have a lot of to determine who picks
You can have pick 1, and also I want to note that rookie drafts.
So why does Nick get pick 1 just because he's the worst of us?
No,
See,
because
that's what I'm trying
this is
to. That's what I'm
I've got
trying
to
to
keep my
outline.
manager happy. So you can have 2, Robbo. But
Okay,
to
thanks.
note it as well, Nick, Callum Wilkie was rookie drafted. Tom
Nah, not
Atkins
interested.
and Cade Chandler, all very good rookie draft picks.
They all have very good rookie draft picks, but I'm not taking him with the number
You don't
1
want
pick.
Cade Chandler with the number 1?
No, I don't like Cade
Okay.
Chandler with
but
the
I'll
number
let you
1.
Why do
pick
you
one
hate
and we'll
Cade
go in
Chandler?
order.
Wait, am I picking like who I think is the best or just who I like the most?
I think who you think is the best player. They're ranking
Ranking.
best to
Yeah,
best to
ranking with
worst.
the number 1 pick. I would probably. This is a tough one.
Do you need an extension?
I need an extension.
Can you trade pick 1 to me?
I'll trade pick
I know
1.
who I'm
Yeah,
taking.
what picks can I take back?
I'll give you my third pick.
All right, let's do it.
All right, I'm taking pick 1. I'm taking Zach Butters. Let's not overthink it.
Yeah, see, I between Butters, Rosie, and
Walsh?
also one of the Kings. No, I didn't know.
You
if I
don't think
wanted to
Walsh?
keep forward. No.
Key forwards are harder to come across. I'm taking Butters. This guy could be he's probably top 3 or 4
Yeah,
player
he
in the
is,
game
he
this season.
probably is.
And he's going
I
on
was
an
just
upward
wondering whether
trajectory.
I don't think it's like a flash in a pan, but I just like I don't know, between him and Rosie, not a flash in a pan at like play, but maybe not sustainable long term. I don't know
The only knock is if he throws himself
if
in
he
the
kills
positions
himself in the meantime. Yeah,
where
like
his
throwing
frame
himself in front
isn't
of a
ready to
ruck.
go.
I kind of think he's almost matured out of that
Yeah.
a touch
Yeah.
now
I think
because
he's
he
shown
was
that
going
this season,
very
yeah.
reckless to
Yeah.
start his career, which you
Yeah.
are as a young kid. But
Sure.
you know what?
Okay.
Do you want me to take pick 2 so you
No,
get more
I'll
time to
take.
think? You'll get
I'll take pick 2, and I'll go Max King.
I knew you were going
Max
to go
King.
large.
That's huge. Well, that's perfect because I'll take Connor Rosie at 3 then. Thank you.
Yeah. So do I want Ben King or do I want Sam Walsh?
Wait, is this just going?
Then we're just going to go around because it's just a quick.
Go.
Oh, sorry.
No, go.
Who else is on that list? Lizard. Basalenka.
game's a good
Jeez,
game.
Basalenka's
Quick game's a
fallen off
good
the place.
game, Robbo.
Let's
I
give.
say
I'll
having-
take Ben King,
Having
please.
sat
Ben
on the
King with
decision
pick
for 10
4.
minutes. Ben King.
Yeah.
And that's me.
Yeah. So you can have Walsh instead.
I'll take Rankin.
Oh, wow.
You're taking Rankin.
I'll take Rankin over Walsh.
Walsh has slipped to 6 if you want him, Cole.
Well, I'll absolutely take Sam Walsh. I think it's, at 6, that's a no-brainer in my eyes. How did he fall to 6?
Yeah, that's
He's the sixth
surprising.
best player in the draft.
Okay, interesting.
What are these names down here?
Isaac Quainer's had a
It's a very good draft.
It's,
It's
a very, good draft.
Give me the Lizard. Give me Nick Blakey at 7, please.
And I will take.
How far are we going to go in this?
We're going just to 12
top
because
10?
we're just doing
top 12?
four
Okay,
each.
sure.
All right, give me Baslenka.
And he was a topic of discussion last week with potentially a move to
The Gold Coast.
Sunshine Coast.
This is right.
So, and this is where it gets hard because what do you value as well?
Are you talking about Taron Thomas here?
I value time.
I'm not taking Taron Thomas. I'm taking Lukosius.
Nick wants his
Move
draft
along.
sped up
I think
very
taking
fast.
Mate,
This is
took
like
about
this is like the
30
actual
seconds to your
AFL
first
draft.
pick.
Yeah, I know, but then once that's done, we get a good cadence.
Who did you take? Sorry,
I took
Lukosius?
Lukosius.
All right, I'll take. Who else is on that list? Give me Taron Thomas. Let's go.
Over
Ooh,
Isaac
jeez.
Quainer.
Yep.
Wait, it's my pick.
No, I'm just saying he took him over
Oh, I
Isaac
thought you
Quainer.
said I
That's-
take Isaac Quainer. Well,
no.
I'm saying you want him so much, I'll take Quainer.
Okay. And look, I'm left with.
I think Taron Thomas' ceiling's much higher than Isaac Quainer.
It is, but
Yeah.
But also, he's
there's also
if he
the
can
off-field
keep himself
stuff.
in the
Sure.
in the AFL.
I'm going to have to take Cal Wilkie at 12.
Oh, I thought we were just going to shuffle around that. Chase Jones. You didn't want
Chase Jones. Fraser
Bit
did
of a whiff,
say
innit?
Chase
Why do you hate
Jones is
Chase
up there.
Jones?
Why do you hate Chase Jones?
I will say Wilkie to come from a rookie pick to do what he's done at St Kilda. Did anyone see that fan vote on Facebook of all the St Kilda fans voted their
Made
favourite
the team of the century. or
No
whatever
Del
it was,
Santo,
yeah.
no Goddard, but Wilkie's played 4 seasons in St Kilda and he can play back
He's in.
pocket. So
Amazing.
But that's a 2018 redraft. That was a bit of fun to see
like
the
it.
way it's turned out.
I've got a good side. So this is me now. So Ben Mackay. Is it Mackay?
Mackay.
Mackay.
Ben Mackay. 4 teams. So he's the biggest free agent in the pool this year.
Sure.
4 teams coming for him: Essendon, Sydney, Port, and Hawthorn. I've got 2 questions for you. One, if you were him, where would you go out of those 4? So that's Essendon, Sydney, Port Adelaide, and Hawthorn.
Assuming he can get the same money everywhere, or
Assuming the same money everywhere, or like it's negligible.
well, I know what Colvin's going to say. Port's one of those teams. Probably Sydney.
Sydney.
Yeah.
I think I would go Sydney as well.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense for him. They probably need him the
They need
most
him the
out of
most,
those
yeah.
4 clubs. And I think he can get a good win now with that young midfield or that rising midfield group that they've got. You can make a case for Port as well, obviously.
Well, I think for his career, it depends on, does he want to be the man down back? Does he want to be the number 1 defender and take the best key forward every single week? I feel at North Melbourne at the moment, he's had a few interesting moments in the last probably 4 weeks, would you say?
He's been at North Melbourne long enough. I don't
It
care. He
has
cares
been.
about being the man. He wants to get out.
He just wants to get out, but I would say I think
And
it's
get
been
paid.
amplified in the last little bit of the season. A few mistakes he's made. There was that switch, I think, against West Coast where he went to switch the ball in the back 50
I'm
and he
going to
always kicked
shock
down
you
the
here and
full.
say I didn't watch a lot of North Melbourne
which
West
is
Coast.
shocking as well. But he's had a few moments that I think he'd like to have back, and a few people have kind of put a bit of pressure on him, saying, is he worth this price tag? If he goes to a Hawthorn, he's probably going to have to be that number 1 defender again every week, and Port Adelaide, he gets a bit of cover with Aaliyah and just, I guess, the way they all kind of work together defensively. And Sydney as well, he's probably taking over that
McCartan.
key mantle,
Sure.
you'd think, as well.
He's played 70 games. How many wins do you reckon he's played in?
7.
7 is correct.
Hey, someone know my
He's
footy.
currently got the worst win-loss percentage of any player since 1904 in AFL
Wowee.
VFL.
He's
He's
still
going at 10.7%.
he's a good player, but what do you think is the fair price for him? Because I keep hearing 800.
Well, this is my question. So that he will probably be paid somewhere around that because that's what the market is just putting him at this year. But is he going to be a boom or a bust or just okay?
I think somewhere in the middle, yeah.
I think somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what this this free agency reminds me of?
What's that?
Chip Frawley.
Yep.
Oh, when
When there was like 3 or 4, lots of clubs clambering for him. He went to the Hawks.
Yeah, Melbourne to
The Hawks.
Yeah.
And then was just okay. He was fine. Like, he wasn't a superstar. He won, how many would have won?
He
2
won-
flags?
I only reckon he won.
Maybe one.
Maybe one. But yeah, just in terms of like the press in the lead up, people clambering for him, and at the end of the day, it was just like he was a solid key defender.
He was, and you look on the flip side, Hawthorn got Brian Lake, I'm pretty sure, for
Peanuts, probably.
pretty cheap.
He was going no
he
good.
was Norm Smith medalist, and
Yeah.
he was going no good at Bulldogs, to be fair, but wow.
Yeah.
So back around to me again. So give me. We're going to get the extended All Australian squad on probably Monday,
Oh,
and then the team gets named on I think Wednesday. They always do it really quickly after that.
I saw they released
coming out
something
Wednesday
about the
night.
awards.
Yeah, next Wednesday night. So it's usually extended squad Monday after the season finishes, and then the team. So looking at that extended squad, which is usually 40, I think. Give me the one name that you think will be in that squad based off this year's form, that if you had suggested it at the start of the year, you would have been laughed out of the room. Who's going to be the most surprising person in that extended squad
Ooh.
who we couldn't have seen coming 6 months ago? I'm going to throw up Mason Wood
Yes.
as one of them.
If he gets in the squad.
If he gets in the squad, I think he'll probably be in the squad.
Is that because they're going to pivot to actually picking wingers?
Maybe. That's what I'm banking this on.
Yeah, okay.
But
He'll
also,
be in the extended squad, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also, St Kilda have been that team to rise.
They need to have a couple. in
There's
the
only
list.
really 2 locks in that squad from St Kilda, you'd think. That is Marshall and Jack Sinclair,
Yep.
in my eyes. So I think Wood might be
Sinclair's
that
the
third
only
guy.
lock in the. Is he a lock in the 20? He's a lock in the
I
22.
think he's in there
surely.
somewhere, yeah. So, Mason Wood, can you make a case for Sam Powell-Pepper, Cole?
No.
No, unfortunately not. No, I think there's.
I was wondering if I could lure you.
There's because the way
There's a line.
it'll work is because Petrarca played a decent amount of forward, so they're naturally going to have those midfielders pushing
Yeah.
forward, which
Forward.
Petrarca
Sure.
justifies the half forward there, but
Sure.
Palpepper's not the same postcode as those sort of players.
He's
but
not.
He's been great. Could you make an argument for Jeremy Finlayson?
You could make an argument for Jeremy.
Don't
Finlayson,
mind
I
it.
think.
Has
there a
he
utility
dropped
spot?
off a little bit?
He has a tiny bit.
He
But
had
like,
a really
start of
good
the year.
purple patch sort of
Yeah, it's the
early
wrong
and
time
mid.
to drop off.
Even Tex Walker, you're not like at the start of the year, you're not saying,
Tex
Tex
is in
Walker
there.
would make in the
Tex
squad.
is-
He's going to be
this
centre
will be
half
his
forward.
first All Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bizarre.
he's definitely in that squad. Yeah, he probably makes the team, doesn't
Yeah, I'm
Makes
trying to
it.
think there's not too many others that really jump off the page, are there?
he? No, I was trying to think back to last year in terms of who would be the equivalent, and Tyson Stengel was probably the guy who, at the start of last year, if you'd said, oh yeah, Tyson Stengel probably gets All Australian this year, what?
Yeah.
He made the team, let alone the squad. So there's always one or two where, again,
probably
if you
Isaac-
cast your mind
Isaac
back to
Quain
March,
is almost in
Quain
that
could
mix
be,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout. Yeah.
Not quite laughed out of the room, but it would have been hard to see.
Would have been hard to make a case. Yeah, something to think about as we approach Monday anyway.
So I'm going to bring up. Oh no, it's on you now.
It's me.
Cole,
No,
so
no,
go.
it's Nick.
Sorry,
All
mate, I'll
good,
just
mate.
jump
That's
in.
fine.
Anytime.
As is tradition, so when I started off in round 4, debuted this season in round 4 on this podcast, I did the top 5 power rankings, and then Nick then touched on it after round 14 as well as just who are the best 5 players in the competition at that current time. So
Sure.
after round 4, we had Jeremy Cameron, Clayton Oliver, Charlie Curnow, Nick Dacos, and Jordan Dawson. That was sort of a consensus top 5 after
Wait, I
round
missed
4.
one. Who was Cameron
Clary.
Larry, Curnow,
Curnow?
Dacos, and then Jordan Dawson.
Yep.
I was laughed out of the room a little bit on Jordan Dawson, but then he absolutely dominated
Yeah.
the next few weeks, so I will take credit on that one. Round 14, Nick, you did this top 5. I went back in
this
the
could go
archives.
anywhere.
This could go anywhere.
Rankine.
Yeah, I'll take ranking.
You
Cam
did.
Rayner. Was this after Cam Rayner did a couple of good games?
No, it wasn't. No, surprisingly, this is okay. Zach Butters was 1.
Yep.
Bont was 2. Dacos was 3, but it got some convincing from the man on my right, Chris
Yeah.
Robinson here, to have him in there.
Cool.
Tim Taranto was 4 and Toby Green was 5.
It's not the worst.
Interesting.
So not the worst 5. I found it really tough to do a top 5 currently because
So just to clarify, currently, are we talking as of right now? Who's
who's had the better season? To
yeah,
this
we're talking
point?
the season as a whole, or at this
season
point
as a
right in the
whole,
season?
but at this point, so for example, Nick Dacos, I've got 5th, despite him still having that injury, which makes him miss, the last 3
Sure.
rounds of the season. So
Okay.
his body of work has still got him to that point. If he had missed 5 or 6 weeks, maybe he falls out just, but I've
Sure.
just got him in there. So one, I've got Charlie Curnow. I just think what he's done to transform, one of many Carlton players,
Yeah.
but for what he's done, especially against Gold Coast, I think he kicked 4 and with the game-saving mark at
Went
the end.
back, yeah.
I think he's justified. Everything he's basically touches turns to gold, more or less, and Carlton is a infinitely better side with him in there. I've got Bontempelli too, but this is open for debate. He's been incredible all year, and his last few weeks he's still been very good. Whether he's polled in the last couple of games and in the losses he's had might determine whether he wins the Brownlow.
Curnow will finish with he'll have the best Coleman total. He already does, but has the best since 2016. But
Was that Jack Rewalt, 2016?
no, it was Josh Kennedy kicked 80.
Josh Kennedy,
So I think he's on 75, Curnow.
75, and he's got Giants, so Sam Taylor. will
And
be his
that's
opponent.
so he's going to finish on 75 then. But even that 80 is an outlier. Like the last time anyone got in the 80s before that was 2009, Brendan Favola.
yeah, 80 takes some doing these days.
This is a very
Great year.
good season.
Yeah.
75 already with a round to go.
yeah.
As I said, he's just changes that team.
So what's the but with Bont?
So there's no
there's no
but,
but.
but it's more so who I've got 3.
Okay. Who is
So
it?
I've got Bont at 2 and I've got Toby Green at 3. Now, it's depending what you prefer in a player. Like Bont is having, high 20s and a goal most weeks.
Yep.
And he's a fantastic player. But I think what Toby Green has done playing probably the hardest position on the ground, half forward, being that kind of medium to small half forward, he's basically kicking 3 a game, I think, close to, or up towards then, having almost 20 a game as well. And he's basically that whole team. Like GWS have exceeded expectations
yeah.
as much as you can say, but Toby Green has an argument to be second.
Yep.
But would you keep Bont
say Bont.
2
I think
and
Bont's
Toby Green 3?
I think Bont's above him. I totally agree, and I think you can mount the argument. I'm probably taking Bont though.
Absolutely. Which leaves me 4 and 5. So as I said, Dacos at 5 just due to the injury pushes
Sure.
him slight back.
Yep, that's
but
fair.
if he was fit, I reckon he probably stays in that top 3. But I've got Butters at 4. Watched him live on the weekend.
Unreal.
His ability to hit kicks out of congestion, those sort of 20, 25 metre kicks under pressure is insane. And I think he's justified a top 5 finish, but certainly there's players like Petrarca who have been very, very good. Even if you look at Tex Walker's stats and body of work over the year, 60-odd goals, he can almost still win the Coleman theoretically if he absolutely dismantles West Coast,
Could.
which isn't out of the
Give
question.
it a nudge.
He's been up there, and there's a lot of players that are on that sort of cusp of the top 5, but I just think with Butters start to finish, he's been very good, and Dacos speaks for himself.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
happy with that. I had it as like first thought top 3. I had Bont, Butters, Curnow, but I like the waiting on goals, so I'm happy to flip Curnow to the top.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it, mate.
Anyways, I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you're weighting it on the most recent stuff, getting extra weighting, I think it has to be 1.
But even
Completely
so,
agree with
it's
that.
still like 80 goals.
Yeah.
He's going to kick.
Yeah,
that's
I'd probably go.
that's a season to work.
I'd probably
I mean,
go
take away 2 West
Curnow
Coast
from
games, but-
Bont. Errol probably knocking on the door as
Errol
well.
was
somewhere.
one of those people
Yeah,
on top,
yeah.
but it's
But you can only pick 5.
you can only pick 5, and I think what Butters and Dacos obviously done from the start of the season, I just couldn't get him out of there.
Yep.
Oh, and let's wrap it up with our good friend. We love him, Peter Sumich. His Eagles team today in the West Australian, he listed out his Eagles team for next year.
Round
who he
1,
thought they needed to
2024.
get. And so I'm just going to go through the inclusions, and I want you to sell me sell these players on coming to the Eagles. So there's one of them he has no say in it, who's Daniel Curtin. So if he gets to pick 4, they'll take him at pick 4 most
Okay.
likely.
Yeah.
Unless they sort of split it, but now that it's 4, it's going to be tough. We
Sure.
spoke about on Tuesday. So he's in there, but he doesn't get a say in it. So sorry, Daniel. Next one up was Liam Henry.
Liam Henry's a really interesting one. Does he want to go over east though? Or
I
does he?
think he does. I think
So-
he wants to go to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Is he getting a game at Melbourne though?
No, like I meant the
Oh, Melbourne in
city.
general. Sorry.
not
Sure.
the Demons per se. Exclusive breaking.
Yeah, it's tough because I feel like he will go to Victoria, right? I think
Yeah,
he's
I
got
think
that
it's-
lure
yeah,
there
yeah,
for
yeah.
whatever reason. But the sell at West Coast, I mean, the sell at West Coast for most of these guys is going to be opportunity
And money.
and probably money.
But they still, I mean, a lot of money just came off the books. But some of that would have to go in the salary cap next year because they had deals going beyond this season.
Yeah. It's hard to... It would be hard for me to see him wanting to leave Freo and then staying in the same city and going to West
Doesn't
Coast
happen
because he
anymore.
has opportunity.
Yeah, he's in the side.
Yeah.
It's just money. If you got more money.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
player-
again, this is Peter Sumich's list. I'm just
Okay,
asking you to
sure.
sell me on him.
A player hasn't made that immediate
has not
swap
made- no.
between Freo and West Coast.
When was the last one?
since-
Metropolis?
Yeah, probably the Greg Harding, Trent Carroll, Daniel Metropolis era of the very early
Wow.
2000s. Hasn't
Well,
happened since then.
Yeah, that's strange, isn't it? It's happened at Port with Frampton, Port to Adelaide or Adelaide to Port. There was another one.
Port to Adelaide, yeah.
There was another one, I feel like.
Brad Symes.
Yep, that's the one. That's another one.
Yeah, good
not
footy.
thinking
These are good footy grid names
Yeah,
for anyone who
yeah,
plays
yeah.
grid
Brad
league or
Symes
footy
is one,
grid.
yeah.
Brad
That's a
Symes.
unicorn.
Yeah,
Come on,
He's
yeah.
got the unicorn emoji in the
happy
top
with that
corner.
one.
Excellent.
Okay, so Tyler Brockman from Hawthorn, the small forward who's come back in the side this year.
Yeah, I can see that. That's got the go home factor,
Mm.
obviously. And West Coast need to replenish that forward line. Cripps isn't going to be there forever. We don't know what Liam Ryan's going to do. And they've obviously lost Rioli as well. So, yeah, you can make a case for him.
Noah Long and Brockman would be a nice sort of
Yeah.
young
Yep.
small
Nice one
forward
too.
duo.
Totally.
Yep.
Brody Grundy.
The ability to play first
Ruck.
22 football.
I've really liked this idea. There's some Eagles supporters that just want to see out Bailey Williams.
He's a ruck
But-
forward. He's a forward ruck.
Well, they
isn't
said
he?
that, yeah.
But the thing
Simo
is,
said
and West Coast supporters in my life have made this point as well. They've said, what's he shown forward that he's actually going to be a good second fiddle to Oscar Allen?
Williams?
Yeah. Because he looks actually comfortable as an undersized
Yeah.
lead ruck,
Oh,
but
but
forward
I
I
am
haven't seen a lot of him.
He's
Still,
really
like,
grown
what's
into
he? Yes, he's shown some in the ruck, but he hasn't shown that he's going to be able to, in a real football side, like
Yes.
hold up the first ruck position.
Yeah, that's just the debate around it. If I'm Eagles, I'm absolutely, if you can get Grundy for a relatively good price and you don't have to spend a lot on him and give up anything outrageous pick-wise, I'm 100% going after it. Why wouldn't you?
What's his sell? Just playing.
Just plain
Playing
role,
ruck.
and he gets to come to Perth where you'd probably think that the microscope might not be on him as much.
Oh, hang
I
on.
don't think-
Hang on.
You did grow up here, right?
No. It's more so like it's Melbourne's a football city with all these Melbourne teams and the Grundy
Yeah.
Gawn thing. At
Perth's
least
a
he gets
football
to
city
go
with
and
only
just.
two teams.
No,
No,
it's
but
true.
he
I
just
did
gets
see
to
Nick
play-
Nat go down to the shops the other day, and just no one even talked to him.
It's more so he gets to play lead ruck as number one and just gets to go about his business rather than going in and out of the Melbourne side and then
Everyone's
in that
saying,
city.
yeah, true.
'Cause
Well,
he's
you
just-
wouldn't- no one would come up to him asking when he's getting back in the side because
Yeah,
there's
he's
no
just going to go to
competition.
Perth and play football. He's not going to be like thinking about when he's going to get his next game.
True.
So-
Okay,
Who
there's
else,
the
who else
sell.
is on that list?
And Devon Robinson was the last one.
Can wear a shirt off all the time in Perth.
Uncle, club legend.
Has a huge following now. Probably a lot of Perth followers have probably gotten around him. What a
Instagram.
rig he's got.
Yes.
A man can dream of having a rig like that. I can't work hard enough to have a six pack.
I'm worried about the direction of this podcast. I was listening to you guys on Tuesday when Xavier was talking about the hot 15-year-old at his golf course.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah. Yes,
driving
we
home,
got into
just
some
going,
dicey
where is
territory
this
there for a bit.
podcast going?
Well, plays that lead. Probably next to Tim Kelly is probably.
Yeah, he's leaving Brisbane. It'd have to be a good whack of money. You'd think so.
It'd be it got reported he has a 4-year deal in front of him. I think I read somewhere.
From Brisbane or from West Coast?
From West Coast, I think it got
Yeah,
reported.
okay.
I saw it on the Facebook. which could
Brisbane's
be-
would surely be like a 3 at least. He's in the side.
He's in the side, yeah, and he's not really. He was on the fringe little. He's played.
He is
He's
for
gone
now,
a
yeah.
bit in and out,
Yeah,
but I
but
mean,
he's in the side now.
Ashcroft still got coming from an ACL, so it's his spot
Yeah.
next year's pretty much
Well, there's another Ashcroft.
Locked up.
He must not be up
Jed.
this year. Levi.
Levi Ashcroft.
I think he must be up the next year after that for the draft, maybe.
Crikey.
Well, he's
But-
overtaken Jared Lyons now, like Devin Robertson.
Yeah.
So
Could be a premiership player this time next
Could be.
month. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it easier if he's got a flag under his belt. Easy to leave.
Yeah, totally.
And now it's time for...
Hardball bets. Thanks to the Tab Touch app.
All right, this is Hardball Bets. Slid back again. I think we go through finals.
Do you know what happened to me?
What happened to you? Tell me.
I took a $14 long shot. I was paying 14 to 1.
Yep.
This is what it was. Collingwood 1 to 39 on Friday. Brisbane 1 to 39
Tick,
on Friday night.
yeah.
Tick against Collingwood. Richmond 1 to 39 against North. Tick. They won by 28 or something. And then my last leg of the $14 long shot that would have got me back into the positive for the year.
GWS 1 to 39.
Adelaide 1 to
Adelaide.
39 against Sydney. Are you kidding me? I was watching that Ben Keys go. I was like, are you kidding me? Do I get, if Tab Touch, if our friends at Tab
Gill
Touch are
apologise to
listening,
you?
he didn't by name, but if our friends at Tab Touch are listening and want to grant me kind of like, half of that bet,
No, you don't
just
get
to get
any
my
of that, mate.
total up, that
You're
would
gonna
be
finish on
most
minus
appreciated. Goodness
180.
gracious. I couldn't believe my eyes.
All right, so what do you go for us this week? What's your retribution?
So I'm taking an $18 long shot
Okay.
this week, just to really go for it. Gold Coast 1 to 39 against North. The Dogs 1 to 39 at Geelong, and then the Crows scoring 120 plus against West Coast in what should be a very free-flowing game
Do you think they try to
on
find,
Saturday night. I
given
think they
everything that's happened, they try to find
Tex
Tex?
a lot.
Yeah.
And then Gov's kind of banged up. Sounds like he's going to play, but he's obviously banged up.
Why?
He's trying to farewell his mates on
true,
the
true,
field.
true.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's trying to do
okay,
everything he
good.
can. But I think Adelaide will be smarting from losing my bet / losing the game, missing out on finals. I think they'll come out all guns blazing. What do you
I'm
got?
going with just the one. I just need to get back in the black. Just slid a little bit. So I'm just going straight up. Collingwood win plus Pendlebury kicks a goal, and that's $3.50.
Okay.
And I think that'll do me. I'll
Let's
slide
do
back
it. But
in.
we're
I'll
going
do
into
the positive.
finals, right?
Oh, yeah, we'll go through finals. Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So
And
my
we'll
long
come down
shots
with
are going
like
to
a
get
normal
even
bet.
more outrageous unless one of them hits.
Here we go. Well, that was Hardball Bets. Got the touch this AFL season. Choose Tab Touch. Gamble responsibly. Call Gamblers Help on 1-800-858-858. Well, this has been the Hardball Gets AFL show. Proudly brought to you by the Mazda BT50 Ute do Ute. We'll see you next time.